Disrespect stings, not because of what's said, but because of what it threatens: your dignity, your control, your place in the world. Most people react instantly. They fire back, raise their voice, try to put the other person in their place. But the Stoic warrior doesn't flinch. He doesn't need to prove anything, because he knows exactly who he is. Disrespect is a test, a trap, a mirror. It exposes whether you lead your emotions or your emotions lead you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed." It's not about being numb. It's about being untouchable. The insult hits, but it doesn't land. Because the Stoic sense of self isn't up for negotiation. People disrespect you for two reasons. They underestimate you, or they need to feel bigger than you. In both cases, reacting emotionally gives them power. The Stoic doesn't give that gift. He watches, calculates, chooses whether the situation deserves energy or silence. And most of the time, silence is the answer. Not because you're weak, but because you've mastered the art of not being pulled into small games by small minds. That's the Stoic way. Respond only when it serves virtue. Otherwise, walk on, with unshakable calm. The Stoic doesn't confuse silence with surrender. He knows there's a difference between cowardice and command. When disrespected, his first move isn't to escalate, it's to assess. What's the motive here? Is this a moment that reveals the other person's character, or mine? Seneca taught that the insult itself is powerless until you receive it. Like a package left at your door, you have to open it for it to matter. So don't. Let it sit. Let it rot. Let the disrespect fall flat against your composure. That stillness, that refusal to play their game, drives insecure people insane, and it sends a message louder than any comeback. You don't control me. But let's be clear, Stoicism isn't about being passive. It's about precision. You don't let people walk all over you. You let them expose themselves. Then you decide what's worthy of engagement. Some battles aren't won by fighting. They're won by refusing to enter the arena in the first place. When a Stoic does speak, it's measured, sharp, calm. I don't tolerate that. No rant, no drama, just a boundary, delivered with stillness. And if the other person can't handle it, that's not your responsibility. It's their reflection. If you've spent too long over-explaining yourself to people who disrespect you, if you've wasted energy trying to prove your worth to those who refuse to see it, then it's time to stop. Not with rage, not with revenge, with resolve. Stoicism is a path of power, not noise. And the man who controls his reaction controls the room. He doesn't need to shout to be heard. His boundaries don't need a spotlight. They speak for themselves. That's what this channel is about. We're not here to play emotional ping pong. We're here to build mental weapons, to train the mind to respond with clarity, not chaos. So if you're done reacting and ready to rise, subscribe. Every video here is a rep for your mindset, a shield for your peace. A reminder that dignity is not found in how loudly you demand respect, but in how silently you embody it. Don't just watch, train. Don't just react, lead. Subscribe now, and let's rebuild that inner fortress they keep trying to shake. The Stoic warrior knows that disrespect isn't always loud. Sometimes it's subtle, an eye roll, a backhanded compliment, a dismissive tone. But he sees it all, and instead of flinching or overreacting, he logs it. He watches, and he waits, because power doesn't rush. Power chooses. When necessary, he speaks, but only once, with clarity, not emotion. That won't be tolerated. No threats, no explanations, just a firm line, drawn with conviction. If the other person respects it, the space remains. If they don't, the Stoic walks, not to punish, but to protect peace. Because access to his presence is earned, not entitled. What most people miss is that the most powerful response isn't always confrontation. It's elevation. You rise above, you keep building, you stay focused. And suddenly, the people who once disrespected you are left talking to your absence. You don't need to match their low energy. You don't need to win the argument. You win by not letting disrespect pull you out of character. That's your discipline. That's your dominance. And every time you choose restraint over reaction, you become the kind of man they can't provoke, can't shake, can't define. Disrespect will find you in meetings, in relationships, in silence that speaks louder than words. You can't control when it arrives, but you can control what it sees when it does. Will it meet a man scrambling to defend his ego, or one so grounded he doesn't need to prove a thing? That's the Stoic warrior. He doesn't posture. He doesn't chase reputation. He sharpens his mind, lives by his code, and lets others reveal their character while he protects his. His response isn't weakness, it's wisdom. He doesn't absorb the insult. He redirects it through stillness, through clarity, through choice. Because what's more powerful than a man who could destroy you but chooses not to? A man who sees your attempt to provoke and simply refuses to move? So ask yourself this: when someone disrespects you, do they see a storm, or do they run into a wall of silence they cannot shake?